cheater.
There. Hi. I know that wasn't my patented hi, but I'll let it go.
Thank you. I need a name for you for that. Bush rats.
Bush. Okay, I'll go with that. That's not
Borat,
trademarked.
Bush rats.
Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to our 100th episode of Rez Hockey. This is a big milestone for Bush and I and everyone else, for you guys, the listeners. So yeah, we're excited that this is episode 100. It took us a while. I mean, we took breaks here and there throughout the last 2 years, but it's they were good breaks. We needed those much needed breaks. But yeah, 100th episode. Who would have thought, Bush, that you and I would be having 100 episodes underneath our belt now?
I know. Clearly, you know what? Okay, I got to say something. I've told people this before, and I've told you this before. I honestly thought it's just going to be like a summer gig, like that summer when everything was shut down. I thought, you know what?
Yeah.
We'll do maybe 4 or 5 episodes and get some laughs, get some giggles, get some stuff out there. Then it just gained traction. It just I really thought. I told Sue, I said, this is going to probably be a thing this summer, and she knew that it was going to be bigger than what I thought, and I got to give her credit to that, and I got to give you credit too. So but
I mean, when I started this podcast, I think I wanted to start it in January, but we didn't start it till in the summer.
Yeah.
And the reason, like a lot of people know, is like I got sick with blasto that year, so I was at home, needed something to do, and I think during that time off, I just started messaging a lot of hockey players like, hey, I'm starting a new thing. Are you interested in being on the show? And things just worked out really cool. And I mean, 100th episode, like it's really cool, and I'm really looking forward to the next 100 episodes. So our guest for this week, for episode 100, he's a former NHL player with the San Jose Sharks and Ottawa Senators. He's a former Maurice Richard. What is that?
Maurice Richard. That's
the Rocket Richard Trophy winner.
Yep. Your cousin won that.
He played in the KHL. He played in the AHL for a number of years. I'm excited for this interview. Our guest for this week is Mr. Jonathan Cheechoo from Moose Cree First Nation. John is probably the second best hockey player to come from there. I'm probably first.
Man.
Unfortunately, Bush wasn't able to attend this interview.
No.
Bush had to work.
Damn it.
Because this interview was during the day. It was really, it happened quick. I think it was like 11 o'clock our Central Time, so it was 9 o'clock Pacific Time. So John was up pretty early with this interview, but so it was really neat. We had a lot of good laughs and talked about growing up back home in Moose Factory and just how things were. It was really I'm honored that he was able to join us, and especially for this 100th episode. So we'll be going to our interview later on in the show, but it was really fun to sit around and talk to John again. Shoutouts. Do you have any shoutouts I didn't even get because of the week? Okay, I got a cuz of the week, but we'll do it when we do our shoutouts.
Okay.
Do you have any shoutouts for this week?
Shout outs. You know what? When we were eating supper, I had about maybe 3 or 4 of them. But then we Sue got talking, and we were talking about trips and everything. I kind of just mine drews a blank right now.
What'd you have for supper?
Pierogies. She made her famous pierogies.
Yeah, are they good?
Oh, they're really good. Yeah. Well, as with any chef, she's way too hard on herself. But man,
really?
Yeah. Oh yeah. When she makes it, she has the recipe down pat. She makes the potatoes every night before, and
yeah,
it's just I was gonna give you some. I was gonna walk up the hill, but you're not here though.
That's a really a dying art now, and like
Yeah, I
making
know.
homemade pierogies, right? Like
Yeah. Oh man, she makes them every year. Last year she made it when I was in Phoenix. So because I wasn't there to bother her, and she just well, I do because I yap at her, I distract her, and I'm like, oh, are they done yet? Or
how many dozens does she make at a time?
uh a dozen.
A dozen
She makes
dozen?
12. She makes 12 dozen.
So 144.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot.
Yeah,
It's a big.
I could probably eat like a good 20 in a
He's
sitting.
probably. I probably have to go old school and drink some ginger ale and burp a lot so you make more room. And then
Sour,
then I can polish off that extra bit.
so when you make pierogies, do you boil them, then fry them up in the frying pan?
She pre-boils them and then she
Yeah,
freezes them. So I just plop them in the frying pan.
yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, onions and bacon.
Onions, bacon, and potato. And some cheese, I think. Cheese, yeah, she makes cheese, yeah. Well, she greases all the cheese and mixes it in, and
Yeah.
it's just wonderful.
Do you have sour cream with them?
No, we have actually me and Sue, we got on a big kick now. We substitute sour cream, we substitute Greek yogurt sour cream. Give it a whirl, man. Don't knock it till you tried it.
I've
We
never having Greek
I'm
yogurt.
I'm serious. Oh, I'll try olives if you try Greek yogurt. How's that with your pierogies?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would do that. Just try it.
Okay.
It just sounds gross.
No, man, it's the same thing. It tastes way better. It's better for you, and you really can't taste much of any difference at all.
I don't
It's
think my
pretty good.
life is going to change because I switched to Greek yogurt from sour cream.
Well, Freddy's coming up in 6 short months, so we got to think about that.
Okay, I got shout outs. I sat down and thought, like, who can we give shout outs to?
Yeah.
And I just want to give shout outs. I'm sorry if we missed people, but I just thought of these guys right away, and because we became friends with these people, and I'm not saying we're not friends with you guys, people that I missed, but I'm sorry. But
Yeah.
I got the Dice Man, Trev Dice started from
Yeah.
Saskatoon, Saskatchewan.
Saskatoon.
uh, Trev became a really good friends with us, and
Yeah.
every time we have the opportunity to hang out, we always hang out and have a good time. So I got Trev. Another guy is Ty LaValle, Ty and Jessica. They're actually not touring, but they're like traveling all through the U.S. with their kids, like in an RV. And so they're
That'd be
like,
so cool.
so I think last week they were in Arizona, and
Oh, nice.
so it's pretty neat to travel in the RV with your kids, right? I don't know if he's gone crazy yet. I'd probably go crazy. But yeah, Ty and his wife Jessica, we've been able to meet up with them a couple of times. So really nice couple, nice family. Belle from
Yes.
Canoe Lake. We were able to meet her a couple of times and at the Freddy, very nice. She's the manager for Canoe Lake Young Guns.
She works tirelessly, man.
No kidding, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome.
So Belle's we met her, like I said, super nice. Uh Name Cardinal, names from BC. He
Yeah.
does indigenous rookie cards on social media. He's a big hockey card collector, and so give a shout out to him as well. My buddy Donnie in Alberta. He's a listener of the show, and we just I gave him my number, and we just text, and he's always sends me some funny texts, and good guy, good all around guy. So another guy is Spuddy uh, Freeman White. He's been on the show a couple of times when you were working your 12-hour shift. He came on as a guest host. So that's buddy and my brother Sean. He comes on the show when you're not around. He always tries to give me ideas, and I always try to shoot him down. Or I
That's
say
sad.
I say okay, but I never listen or use them. Another one is our first Cuz of the Week we ever had on the show. I think we started doing Cuz of the Week on episode 4. Larry Counselor Jr. from International Falls, Minnesota.
Absolutely. Yes, he's a big fan. He likes to listen to us, to see his comments every now and then.
So he's been a fan and a friend of the show since day one. Another guy, he's from back home. He's actually related to Jonathan T. Ryan Tyre. I think he lives in Sudbury now. So he always messages me on Facebook about the show. So thanks Ryan for all your support, and thanks everyone. If I missed your name, I'm sorry. For those. So all these people that I mentioned, they're Cuz of the Week for episode 100. So because these guys are big supporters of the show from day one. So we just want to say thank you, and sorry if I missed you. It's Bush's fault.
Yeah.
So yeah, recap of our shows for episode 100. I mean, it was I actually wrote down all our guests that we had. Where are they?
Should be about 96 of them, because there's a couple episodes we did alone, and then they bailed.
Yeah, there's a couple shows that Bush and I had to do with no guests, because there was a couple times our guests just bailed on us. So it was very like the day of when we record the show, they like message, "Oh, sorry, you can't make it," and it's really frustrating, and I feel bad, and it really, I don't know, it messes with my mind in a way where it's like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? I'm messaging other guys, can you be on a show? Like, I'm sorry if it's last minute, but someone bailed, and it's really hard sometimes on me, and it just totally. But it's not saying that I don't like Bush's being like having Bush on the show and having his company, but okay, let's go. Well, we're gonna name everyone that's been on the show. Do you want me to send you the list? So
because then I can change it up and give you a little break.
Yeah, because I know I'm gonna be out of breath when I name all these.
Well, we have a hard time doing the 40 teams for the Sasakamoose tournament.
Yeah, so, for sure. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Well,
holy crap!
I text you. Yeah. Okay. And the cool thing is, like, we only had 2 guests that were on the show twice. So.
Yeah. When you get to Keyshawn, I'll take over. It looks like.
Where is he?
It's way down there. It looks like he's halfway.
Holy shit. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's about right.
Taking a deep breath. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Do you want to say the province where they're from, or do you just?
Yeah, we'll say a province, because I try to like even it out. Like each week. Well, it's like, okay, this guy was from Manitoba. Next week we'll ask someone from Saskatchewan or Alberta. Okay.
All right. Oh, full disclosure. We apologize for the mispronunciation of your name.
Oh yeah. Okay.
We'll try to.
And we're very thankful for these guys and women for coming on the show to tell their stories of how they got to that high level of hockey where they played and all that stuff. So we're very thankful for these guys and these women. So okay, let's name the list.
All right.
First on the list, I think it was episode 4 though. Wesu Rabbit from.
Yep.
He's from Alberta, but he lives in Saskatchewan. He was on the show twice. So we see Devin Buffalo from Alberta, Colton Yellowhorn from Alberta, Nathan Breer. Nate was our first episode, our first guest of Rez Hockey. He's from Ontario. Taylor Tom from Ontario. Funny
Taylor Hall.
Yeah, funny. I was calling her Taylor Hall, and it's like, even though we knew her before the show.
Yeah.
It's funny that Congrats to her dad, Gary Tom, for being
Yeah.
elected the chief of
New.
Whitefish Bay. So
Yep.
congrats, Gary. Sydney Daniels, she's from she's a registered band member with Mr. Wasis in Saskatchewan, but she lives in Massachusetts. I
No,
always
she
thought
doesn't.
Mike. Huh? Does
No,
she
she
live in
doesn't.
Massachusetts?
She's a scout, remember?
But she lives in
Does
Massachusetts.
she did? I thought she lived in Winnipeg because she's scouting.
No, she does the U.S. college scouts
Oh,
scouts
okay.
for the college, like all in that area, the
All
Boston
right.
area, the Boston. Our buddy Mike Oskey. Did I get his name right?
No, it's Mike
Oxy,
Oxy.
Oxy, Oxy,
Oxy.
and Mike's been a big help
Yep.
from day one as well. He's from Lac Seul First Nation, Ontario, but he lives in Montreal. This is one of my favorite guys, Harry York from Alberta. He was on the show twice. Uh, Harry's a really good guy. And next is Roland Delorme from Winnipeg, Manitoba. Roland was the first non-hockey player that we had on the show. Rolly's a former UFC fighter.
Yeah.
So it was fun to have Rolly on the show. Next is Chad Denny from Nova Scotia. Connor Roulette from Manitoba. Darren Reed from Alberta. Shaq Marasti from Manitoba. Kyle Shagnall from Ontario. Alfie Michaud from Manitoba but lives in Maine. Rich Pilon from Saskatchewan. Harlan Kingfisher from Alberta. Jeff Shatler, he lives in Saskatchewan but is from Ontario. Brandon Stanley from Ontario. Owen Hedrick from Ontario. Kelly Babstock from Ontario but lives in the U.S. Judd Blackwater from Alberta. He's currently playing in Romania. Harry I missed a bunch of names. John Morasti from Saskatchewan. John is a regular on
Shorzy.
TV
Yeah.
show, which was really cool.
What's his character names?
Jim.
He's one of the
One of the Jims.
He's one of the gyms. Bunch of
Jason,
beauties.
yeah. Jason Smith from Manitoba. Harley Garriock from Manitoba. Jamie Leach from Manitoba. Carlin Nordstrom from Saskatchewan. Vern Cooper from Quebec. Tyson Watney from Saskatchewan. Dwayne Jean Jr. from Alberta. Holy man. Eric Roy from Saskatchewan. Gary Roach from Ontario. Jared Bethune from Ontario. Dan Frawley from Ontario. Ashley Cullenbull from Alberta, but she lives in Saskatoon, or she lives in Saskatchewan. Craig McCollum from Saskatchewan. Jason Bowen from Manitoba. Victoria Bach from Ontario. Trey Lewis from New Brunswick. Trent Campbell from Saskatchewan. Vern Ray from Ontario. Holy man, I'm out of breath. I was getting tongue tied with Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead. I'm up to Keyshawn now.
You Roddy, Dalen, Troy, Chris, who, Caden?
What?
You skipped
Did
them.
I miss them?
Yeah.
Where?
Okay, I know that's me.
Yeah.
I know my thumb scrolled. Okay, Keyshawn Gervais from Saskatchewan, Kimby Daniels from Manitoba, and lives in Alaska, USA. Jocelyn LaRock from Manitoba, Jesse Dudas from Alberta, Roddy Ross from Saskatchewan. Oh boy, did I ever feel dumb when I almost said that out loud, Freddie?
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
Is that Roddy Ross?
And the guy just happened to have a last name on his jersey.
His girlfriend just looks at me like, what? Okay, Dalen Smallchild from Saskatchewan, Troy Williams, Ontario, Chris Houle from Alberta, lives in Ontario, Caden Butterfly from Ontario, Drew Rose from Saskatchewan, Bryce Gervais from Saskatchewan, and Damon Gardner from Ontario, Skylar Tate Rayom from Manitoba, Charlie Wash from Quebec, Andrew Ansonen from Manitoba, way up north Manitoba.
He's also from
Shorzy.
Shorzy.
Yeah, he is way up north in Manitoba. I want to go hunting with those guys, with Andrew, his family.
That'd be fun.
Yeah. Andrew, Trishelle Bunn from Manitoba, Leon Denny from Nova Scotia, Jeremy Thompson from Alberta, Kerry Terrence from New York. I want to mention him later on in the show. Don't let me forget. Justice Smoke from Manitoba, Jody Biederman from Ontario. My hand's getting sore from scrolling up. Dan Hodgson from Alberta, Mark Sinclair from Ontario. You have him here twice?
Yeah, I know. I have Wasey down twice. I don't know why.
Okay, because he was on the show twice. Brad Belisle from Ontario, Rene Hunter Jr. from Manitoba, Silas Neposh from Quebec, Willie Sellers from BC, Justin Wiskowich from Saskatchewan, Mickey Ipana from Northwest Territories, Reagan Yu from Saskatchewan, Tyler Miller from Ontario, Creighton Sanapas, New Brunswick, Maya Hedrick, Ontario, Neil Sasakamus from Saskatchewan, Justin Akbar from Manitoba, Rylan Parento from Saskatchewan, Dalen Wakely from Ontario, Joe Higgets, BC, Zach Whitecloud, Manitoba, Taze Thompson from Alberta, Brad Lieb from BC, Brent Dodginghorse from Alberta, Teddy Belisle from Ontario, Theo Fleury, Alberta, Tony Apetagon,
Yeah,
Apetagon, Manitoba, and Tobias Ojic from Quebec.
And add to the list number 100 for episode 100, Jonathan Cheechoo. Like, wow, like we had such. This is like a
or Tobias.
Tobias.
Damn it!
You're doing so good.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, this is the list for hockey players. Like,
yeah,
you could probably make like every player. We could make freaking 4 or 5 teams and just they're all stacked. So like, So yeah, thanks guys for being a part of our show. I mean, like these are freaking $1,000 in a room hockey players that we interview, and they all they are what?
So you want to do paper rock scissors? Just type them all out and tag them, or no?
For that,
it's a big paragraph.
Yeah. You mentioned Charlie Wash. I just want to mention that unfortunately Charlie passed away a month ago. So it was a big loss in the hockey community in Quebec and all over. So that one's a tough one when you mentioned Charlie. Great guy, and we still think about you, Charlie, and think about your family. So yeah, like this is a good list, man. So I just can't wait for the next 100 to be on the show. So that's the list of lists, I guess you could say, eh?
Yep.
Favorite moments. What's your favorite moment of the show?
Oh, the show. It's hard to pick one, because you meet one guest and then you meet them in real life and then you're like, wow, this is it.
Yeah.
But when we interviewed, I think one of the top 5 for me, and there's no order, but I think one for me is interviewing a little bittersweet for me, but Zach Whitecloud.
Yeah. I mean, that was pretty neat to interview him like a couple days after winning the Stanley Cup. Like he was still, well, I would be on cloud 9 still.
Oh, I know.
So that was pretty cool.
But do you remember what he was doing while he was late though?
Why?
He was at he brought the cup to Sick Children's Hospital.
The Children's Hospital, yeah. So
that was really cool when he said that.
I think one of the my favorite moments is when you, me, my son Nick, and we went to Wasey's house for supper.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just to be able to be invited for supper at a former guest house and just be friends with them away from the rink and from recording it was really cool. And I'm still really impressed that you cooked a mean steak, man.
Hey man, I got some skill.
So and now Wasey called us the Baloney Brothers. I texted him the other day, and he's like, "Yeah." He just mentioned you and I, and because when we went over there, we brought the. We have a picture on social media about it. Like we brought like a big blob of bologna because we were gonna give it to him and Ashley, because when we had Ashley on the show, she said she likes bologna sandwiches still. So that was our uh our welcome gift for them, the big blob of bologna. So
It was
yeah.
it was about the size of a Yeti cooler. Like that's how thick it was.
So yeah, that was. I mean, yeah, that was probably one of my favorite moments.
Yeah.
Just being able to meet a lot of these former guests and get to know them away from the ice and hang
Yeah.
out with them and become friends. So it's same goes with the listeners, with the people that we meet.
Hmm.
We met so many people, and it's really cool when you're just walking around in an arena and someone comes up
Yeah.
to you and introduces themselves and tells us that they listen to the show. And I mean, same for you. Like when you were in Nova Scotia at the Indigenous Games, you were in a casino and one of the listeners approached you and
Yeah.
introduced himself. So it's cool.
The arena, Lucas Sisikosis, he introduced himself to us. That was pretty neat.
So yeah,
That's just moments like that.
that's one of my favorite moments. Just being able to meet people and uh, interact with them. So least favorite moment. Do you have a least favorite moment? I don't want to be negative Nelly, but I'm sure there's a couple.
Negative Nelly.
I think the only thing for me that my least favorite moments when people, I keep
They stand us
messaging
up.
them. Yeah, they stand us out.
Yeah.
There was a couple I won't name names, but there was a couple times where we're online and we're waiting for them to do an interview and they never show up and they never
Yeah.
explain what happened. And we don't want to be badmouth anyone, but it's I'm like, show your common courtesy,
Yeah.
right? Like I know we're not big dogs like spitting chiclets where those guys are like top of the food chain. So like I'm sure they wouldn't treat those guys
Hmm.
the way they treated us. But I think that's of all the things that 100 episodes, I think that's the only thing that really grinds my gears is people
Yeah.
not a few guys not showing up. So how about you?
That was it. Just
That was it.
yeah. Well, I understand if there's tornado warnings, but
Yeah, but
but just yeah, that one guest that just didn't bother to call or said, "Oh, I'll be on next time," or "I'll be there," and then just didn't bother
it
telling you.
it
Just
takes 2 seconds the
yeah.
message, right?
Mhm.
So okay, with that being said, let's head it over to our interview with John
All right.
Cheechoo. Let's go.
Okay. Hey guys, Rez Hockey would like to introduce you our guest for number 100. He's originally from Moose Cree First Nation and Moose Factory. He's currently living in beautiful California. Rez Hockey would like to introduce you our guest for this week, Mr. Jonathan Cheechoo. Welcome to the show, John.
Hey, thanks, Trev. Nice to be here with you guys. Glad to join you for this episode.
First question, how did you get started in hockey?
For me, growing up, Moose Factory, it was something my uncles. My dad had there was 8 of them that were boys, I guess, that all played hockey, and growing up with them, it was just inevitable that I'd get into it. I think I maybe frustrated them a little bit because I shot right. I think I was the only one that shot right, me and my uncle Ronald. So, it was, something I got into. I had a hockey stick in my hand since I was basically a little kid. My grandmother, my mom's mom, Maud, she actually bought me my first pair of skates when I was 6 months old, I guess. I had pneumonia and I was in the hospital, and she thought that would cheer me up. So ever since I was probably about 1 year old, I had those skates on, and never really took them off.
A couple of years ago, I went back home and my family came up and we were driving with my kids and we drove by your old place. And growing up, that your backyard used to I thought it was big, but when we drove up, and I was like, yeah, this is where like we learned how to play hockey, and it was so small. Like it's funny how things are like that. Like I showed them the late Monroe Linklaters place too, and how they
Yeah.
used to have a rink in the yard, and that used to be so big when we were small, but now it was a tiny yard. It's funny how things add up like that when you're older, right?
Oh, for sure. I did a Hockey Night in Canada interview, and we drove by, and I was like, that is really small where we used to play, you know? And you're right about Monroe's. I used to think that was like an NHL sized rink. It was so big.
Yeah. So who were some of the people that you looked up to when you were growing up, when you were younger?
When I was a kid, like everybody else, I think you find your team, right? I know, like when I was really young, I idolized the guy Yari Curry. Um, as I got older, I was a Canucks fan, so I realized I couldn't really cheer for him very much anymore. And Pavel Bure became my guy there. But native wise, I think I looked up to guys like Ted Nolan, guys who had kind of carved a path before. I'm actually named after Stan Jonathan. He came up to Moose Factory one time, and that's how my parents got my name. I think that's guys like that came before me that kind of blazed the path, kind of. We're very humble individuals as well, and great people to know, and kind of pick their brains a little bit. Ted Nolan came up and did a couple hockey schools up in Moose Factory, and I was able to kind of just get some advice on what I needed to do, and one of those things he said was, you can't stay here forever. If you want to play, like, you got to leave. You're gonna get no scouts coming up here. So for me, like getting to see those guys where they made it, how successful he was as a coach. I think it just helped me along my way.
You mentioned moving away. You moved away from Moose Factory when you were 14 to play hockey. How was it moving away from your community and from your family?
Moving away, it was something like I kind of had to barter with my parents for. My mom didn't want to let me leave at that young age, because they both had to leave to go to high school at that age, and they didn't want to kind of put me in that same boat, I guess. But for me, I was so focused, and I had to explain myself and my goals and what I wanted to achieve by doing this, and leaving home for me, that was a choice that I made. My parents obviously supported me, but it was tough. It's tough leaving home. Everything I knew was there. Hunting, fishing, I couldn't do that anymore. I was out. I mean, I could go back once in a while if I didn't have hockey, but for me, hockey had to come first. And I made that decision when I was 14 to do that. And first probably month was the toughest. Like I know I'd cry myself to sleep some nights. Like I missed it a lot. Like going out in the boat with my grandfather and just driving out the White Top just to see. Go have some tea out there or something, even. And, I think you grow up in a tight knit community like that. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody's, kind of looking out for one another. And then you go to a place that's a lot bigger. Like Timmins was 50,000 people going from 2,000 people, like it's a big change. I remember first day I was late, about an hour late for school because I didn't know the bus system. So it takes a little bit of getting used to, but like if you're focused on something and you truly want something, you'll figure it out. And it's not gonna be easy. It never is. But it does get easier as you move along.
You spent a year. Well, I think you went to Timmins, Cap, Kitchener before you got drafted by Belleville.
Yeah. So yeah, I spent a lot of time moving around. So like making friends for me came pretty easy after a while, because I was kind of forced to. But being in a hockey community, it's actually pretty good too, because most of the people that you're playing with are like-minded, and it's easy to you kind of got a team full of friends right away. Even if you don't hang out outside, you still got some people you can kind of joke around with and hang out with, and then you find a way to meet people as you kind of like for me, it was I moved to Timmins. I had a group of friends. Then I left them and went to Cap, and then got a new couple group of friends. Actually, one of my buddies from back home joined me, Mike Katabatic.
Oh yeah.
He came out and played with us that year, and then I moved down to Kitchener, and that was a whole new thing. That was probably 150,000 people in Kitchener Waterloo. So moving to a big city like that again, taking the bus, I had to take the bus all the way across town to get to school. So it's like, those are things that you kind of go with as you get older, you get used to. And, it was definitely a crazy ride. I went to 4 different high schools in 4 different years. So it was, it was definitely pretty crazy, but I was able to do my work too at the same time as play hockey. My mom was very big stickler on, if you're not doing your schoolwork, you're coming home. So for me, I made sure I got there. I graduated on time with extra credits, and it was actually for school and hockey, it's not that hard to do when you're combining them together.
After Kitchener, you got drafted into the O by Belleville Bulls. How was your experience playing in Belleville?
Belleville for me was really, I think it was a good landing spot for me, to be honest with you. There were a few teams that were interested in different ones, but I think this ended up being like the best possible place I could have fallen into. They were missing all the right wingers had graduated to move on either to pro or to college. So coming in, I had a chance to earn the first right wing spot. So I put in a lot of work. I went and worked on my skating with a lady in Toronto. Moose Factory actually did a great job for me. They fundraised a bunch of money, and I was able to spend the better part of the summer there training with that lady. And she got my skating up to where it needed to be. I was never one of the fastest guys in the world, but I could get where I needed to go and beat people off the mark after I trained with her. So falling into that spot was really cool. And then they had a great team there at the time. I know they were missing the right wingers, but they had like a solid set up the middle. And then their left wing, Captain Ryan Reddy, was probably one of the best leaders I've ever played for. And getting to play on a team like that helped my success for sure. Just learning off of those guys too, because a lot of them had been in the league for 3 years almost by that point when I joined them. So we were able to be pretty successful, and I was able to be pretty successful with 2 good line mates.
Game 7 of the OHL championship. I think what year was that? That was 99 when you guys made it to the league championship against the London Knights. You sniped 5 for the Bulls to win the league championship. What do you remember about Game 7?
I just remember there was a lot of ups and downs, I guess. So like we were up 3-1 in the series. And then we went in for, I think we lost Game 5 at home maybe. And then we went to their rink, and I got kicked out of the game for boarding. It was a clean hit, I think. But anyways, I still think about that one. But, it is what it is. I got kicked out of the game. We ended up losing that game. And then we came back home I kind of knew I had to do something to make up for it, and I wasn't expecting 5 goals now, but I felt good. Like I was rested, I was healthy at the time, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go and seize this moment. And like for me, I went out there and I was just like, I'm gonna put everything on net and try to help my team out. That's the best way I can do it. And everything I touched just seemed to have an eye. It was pretty crazy. I know I tipped one. I think I was out in the slot at one point, and I tipped it from the slot and it went in, and I was like, darn, everything's going in for me, and it just kept going right until the end. It was pretty crazy. I know I had a lot of people came down. My Uncle Dave was down, my dad, and I think I had another couple uncles down, and it was like it was pretty wild for them to be there and to be able to celebrate that with me.
How'd you guys do in the Memorial Cup?
We ended up losing in the semifinals. Ottawa we beat them in the second round, so they had a month to rest and recuperate, and they ended up winning the whole thing. But I actually only played a game and a period, so I got kneed and I
Oh yeah,
tore my
yeah, yeah.
ACL. So I was out for, and then our leading scorer, he had 52 points in the playoffs. He ended up out with a concussion as well. So, and then we had one of our top right wingers as well. Another guy was out. He missed the last series, I want to say, of the playoffs. So we had three of us that were I think he had 40 goals that year. I had 35 or 30, and the other guy had 52 points in the playoffs, and we were all out. So it's kind of tough. They battled, but we weren't able to come away with a win there.
Do you remember a fellow who played for Calgary Hitmen, Brent Dodgenhorse?
I do. I remember his name barely fit on a jersey.
We had him on the show, and he mentioned your name, that you were you were a really good player. But yeah, I totally forgot that you got injured.
Yeah. Well, Brent he was a big dude, man. He was like wide. I was like, he'd run some people over. It's pretty fun watching him play and getting to see. It's always fun to get to see other Native people when you're playing. It just shows that other people are kind of in the same battle as you.
Yeah. You were drafted by the San Jose Sharks. You had a lot of family and friends when you got drafted in Buffalo. How was it getting your name called that day?
For me, it was pretty surreal. I mean, it's something you expect because you go to the draft, but you never really are prepared for your name to be called, I don't think. For me, I remember we had, I think, a couple bus loads that came down from Moose Factory. We had over 120 people, I think, at the draft. It was pretty wild. Got loud when I got picked. I know they had to kind of stop the draft for a little bit until everybody settled down. But it was pretty surreal. It was it's almost like you're floating on air. You're kind of there, but it's almost an out of body experience when you get drafted. I was just concentrating on one step at a time, trying not to trip the stairs. But when San Jose called me, it was great. I was so happy that everything had worked out to that point. I thank my parents because without them I wouldn't have been there. Their support, my brother and sister, all my aunts and uncles, everybody would come down and see me play in different spots. They'd come all the way to Kitchener to watch me play, and it's a long trek because from Moose Factory most people can't fly out. It's too expensive. So
yeah.
You take that 6-hour train or whatever it is, 5.5 hours, and drive another 8 hours to come down and see me, which was, it's a big boost, even if they just take you for dinner and, they're able to hang out for a little bit. When you're away from home, those little things definitely help out, and they're a morale boost for you, keep you going, to know that people are there looking out for you, and, getting picked, it kind of felt like it was for all of them too, so
yeah.
For me, it was having my dream come true. So it was, one of those moments I'll always remember.
Did you talk to any other teams other than the Sharks before the draft day? And did you think you were going to get drafted to another team?
I talked to quite a few teams. There were rumors that I was going to go to Detroit at one point in the first round. I slipped to the second round. I was the first pick in the second round. But I talked to Colorado. I talked to New Jersey. A lot of the teams that were picking in kind of the 20s, and obviously Colorado had 4 picks that year. So, they were talking to everybody, I think, trying to figure out what they were going to do. But I had a meeting with the Sharks, but it was with 400 other people.
Yeah.
It was almost like a little mini combine, so it was like, it wasn't really a meeting. I had no idea. Like, the scouts were kind of standoffish. They were kind of like tried to trap you a little bit in the questions they asked. And so I never thought I would have been going there, to be honest with you. Like, it wasn't something where they came and had a one-on-one meeting with me or anything. I sat in a room during our meeting with the scouts and the GM at the time with 10 other players. And that's how the
Yeah.
meeting was conducted. Like around the room, you're in there with 10 other players and they're asking you like all these personal questions. And it's kind of daunting when you're sitting in there with all those other people, but
Yeah.
as long as you're truthful and you stick by what you say, I think they respect that.
Yeah. After Belleville, you spent 2 seasons, one with Kentucky and Cleveland, who were AHL affiliates for the Sharks. How was it adjusting to the pro game?
To be honest with you, it took a little while. I went from playing against 17 to 20-year-olds to playing against grown men. Some were in their prime, right? I mean, like your prime is 28 to 32 ish. And like, I mean, some guys longer, but like that was where you were playing against actual men. And it took a little bit of adjustment, just physicality wise, I think. I was younger. I knew I had to kind of get into better shape, I guess. I realized as I was playing my first year, but about the halfway point, like around December, I started to kind of find a groove and figure everything out. And it took those first 3 months. Plus, you're living on your own. Like I lived with a billet family up until then, so like everybody cooked for me. Like I did my laundry. So like for me, I was like, and now I had to learn to do all this stuff. I had to go shopping for groceries, so I'm not eating McDonald's every day or something. Like so. You learn quickly to kind of, I guess, become an adult. Like I think some of the college kids that come out, they're more prepared because they've been living on their own for 4 years. And when I came out, I'd come from a family to all of a sudden I'm by myself. And how do I, plus you have all this time because you only practice in the mornings and then you have all evening. So like, how am I going to fill that? And so like, you learn to grocery shop and, just do adult things, I guess, and pay bills. That's another one. Like you got electricity bills now. You got all these other different things that add up, and you're trying to negotiate that and budget out your money so that you don't run out by the end of it, and you have some for the summer. So for me, it was all a learning experience, but like the hockey wise, I think it started to come around December. I think I had 4 goals up until that point. And then I kind of turned it around and, I ended up with 30 goals that year or 32 goals, something like that. So, like took a while to adjust, but eventually I got there.
San Jose Sharks. How was it playing for the Sharks?
Oh, it was magical. I mean, it was a dream. Like that's another one that I'll remember forever. Like my first shift, I got to line up next to Brett Hull. So I was like, should I really be on the ice with this guy? Like watched him. He's got like 600 plus goals at the time or something. And I was just like, maybe even more. I think I ended up that year. I was there for, it may have been his 800th goal he scored against us. So, it's something where, kind of realized like all my dreams came true, like it was like it had finally happened and I'd actually made it, because getting drafted is just one step, right? It's just you got your foot in the door now, kind of people notice you, and then you got to earn it. You got to put in work and you got to really go after it if that's what you want. And for me, that's what I'd always wanted. I'd had a one-track mind since I was a kid. I used to run. I used to see all my friends out at 6 a.m. still from the night before, but I was running. I was up. That was me getting up to go for a run around the island. So it's like they'd cheer me on, mock cheer me on, kind of as I ran by. But it's something I was focused on since I was probably about 12 years old when I started actually like training to try to get better.
Yeah.
I'd run every day and skate as much as I could. And then, getting to San Jose like that was, it was pretty awesome. I know my dad was there for the first game, and I think Norm Wesley was the chief at the time. So he was there. And my dad was running around collecting all these like souvenir cups so he could take them home and give them to everybody. But he was, it was pretty amazing. And, it's something I'll always remember. And it's one of those, you get the few things in life where you always will go back to that and be like, wow, remember that feeling,
You mentioned about going jogging in the morning and your buddies teasing you. Actually, I still remember we did that once. I was just getting I'd go up there, live at stay at my grandparents, and you were jogging by, and I think it was around 7 in the morning. I was just getting home to my grandparents, and I called you over.
Yeah. Oh
so
yeah.
I was one of those. uh, you won the Rocket Richard, which is the most goals in the league. It was such a magical season for you. Talk about that magical season.
Well, it started out kind of slow. Like I think I'm not slow, but like for me, I was on par for my probably to improve on what I did the year before. Like the year before, I had 28 goals, and I had 7, and it was just through October. So I mean, it's not like it was almost November, I guess, halfway through November, and then we I was playing, but I was still playing like on a third line, a checking line. Like I wasn't on one of the top 2 lines. So it's like 7 goals, pretty good, I think, for playing on a checking line like month and a half into the season. But it is what it is. I got a little more power play time after I scored the 28, so I was able to try to take advantage of that. I kind of stood in front of the net and let Patrick Marleau work it around and pick up all the scraps in front. But we traded for Joe. I think it was near the end of November, and it was something where I had no idea I was going to play with him at all. Because I was on a third line. Like I was like, I'm not going to play on a first line. And then the first game, coach came to me and he's like, all right, here's your chance. He's like, you can score. I know you can score. So he's like, this guy can pass. He's like, just be ready. And I was like, all right, I'm always ready. Like I love to shoot. Like I spent all those hours outside of my house shooting pucks just to, try to perfect my shot when I was a kid. And, I'm sure I kept the neighbors up just from hitting the board so much, but, they were pretty behind me for the most part, and obviously when they had kids, they were probably like, shut up in there, but, it's one of those things. I see them, I seen them after, and they're super proud of what I did. And they seen all the work and heard all the work that I put in, I guess. But no, getting to play with him, he's a pure passer. I mean, it's unreal. He got 90 assists back to back. I think he was the first one since Gretzky and Lemieux, or maybe they're the only 3 to ever do that. And getting to play with a guy that's that smart and just knows how to get you open a little bit too, like I can get open, but then him knowing like when I'm going to be open and just laying the puck there for me made things a whole lot easier. Then I could it was like being up on a tee, and I just got to tee off. I think I ended up with the most shots I've ever had in my career that year. And things started to find their way in, and it was one of those things where I think my last one was a empty net goal with like 1 second left on the clock. It just the puck found me, and I shot it all the way down the ice, and it went in, and it was just like meant to be almost. It was pretty cool, and getting to see the guys I beat, like Yager, I think was 2 behind me. Heatley, I think Kovalchuk was there. Maybe Ovechkin. I think that was his first year. He got 50, and getting to beat guys like that, I think it's something I was really proud of.
After the Sharks, you went to Ottawa, then you played a couple years in the AHL. Like, how was it to play in the AHL after having success in playing in the NHL? Like, was it hard on you mentally?
Definitely. When I first went down, it was tough. I mean, I played and I played really well. And then, I got traded to Ottawa. I don't think I really got a fair shake there. The coach kind of had his guys that he wanted to play and that kind of played with him in the minors, and he came up through their system. So, they were kind of given a little more chance, a little more leeway than I was, I think. And, I ended up getting put on a 4th line, and, just also I didn't contribute, like I wasn't scoring when I had my chances. So like that kind of wore on me more than anything. It was definitely a mental battle. And then, going down, I found some success, like I started scoring, and I started, kind of getting back into the groove down there, and I was really enjoying it. And then the year after, I think I went to where was Dallas's camp, and I got cut. The guy said, like he's like, you probably could make our team, but he's like, we want to go with our younger guys, like because they had some younger guys going up, and they wanted to have spots for them. So, that was really frustrating at the time. It was just something where I thought I could have did more. Like I had a couple chances. I probably could have, if I would have buried those, maybe it would have been a different story. But I went down to Worcester after that. My old coach from the early days was coaching there now. That was the Sharks affiliate at the time. And, I went down there, put in a lot of work. I worked on my foot speed. I think that was one of the things that had caused me to kind of lose a step. I had the hernia surgeries, and they put the mesh in there, and I still feel it to this day. Like I still feel it, like it gets really tight there. So I think there's something when they put those in. Now they just do a little like snip, and it's healed in a month. But back then that's the way they fixed them. And I think it hurt me a little bit. But at the end of the day, I was down there, and I learned to kind of just enjoy the game, I guess. Like I was like frustrated, but then over the course of the year, I realized, what, I get to play hockey for a living. Like this is pretty awesome. Like not a lot of people get to do that. And for me, like I went down there and I put in as much work as I could. I'd stay after practice like I always have. And, I never changed. That was one of the things I think that, why I was able to sustain such a long career, playing those extra 2 years there, then going playing 4 more in the KHL, was just because I love the game and I love to work at it. I've tried to put in more work than everybody else. And if I did that, I know like I'm going to be successful.
You mentioned the KHL. How was your time playing in Russia and like the other countries that you played in?
Oh, it was pretty it was a new experience. It's something where you go there and you kind of realize how it is for them when they come over, because you're the guy now that doesn't speak Russian or Croatian or whatever else it is. And they're like, hockey guys are really cool. Like for the most part, every one of them was like really good at trying to accommodate you with English if you tried to accommodate them with a little bit of Russian or a little bit of Croatian, so like if you could learn a little bit, like learn how to say good morning, and they knew how to speak English. So it's like, they would speak English to you if you could, kind of show you were trying a little bit as well. So, for me going over there, it was a new experience. I got to travel a lot. I think I hit like 38 different countries while we were over there. Because you get a lot of breaks. Like the national team has a lot of tournaments they go to. So you get like a week here in the middle of the season, week there. And the coaches are really good. They usually let you have like 4 days off where you can go travel and then come back and practice for the last 3. So for us, we got to see a lot of the world while we were over there, and really cool. And then playing in the KHL itself is pretty, the hockey's really good. I think, that's one of the things I think outside of the NHL, maybe that and Sweden, probably 2 of the better leagues to play in when I was there. I don't know how they stack up now, but like when I was there, like playing against, seeing all the other leagues, I thought those were probably 2 of the better, more NHL-like leagues, I guess. Like some of the other leagues are pretty skilled too, but they more so play different styles than the NHL does. So, going over there hockey-wise, I was able to fit in, and it wasn't too big of adjustment. The only adjustment is the ice surfaces are a little bigger, but that gives you more time to make a play. Like it's not as bang bang as the NHL, where there's somebody right in your face every time you're touching the puck. Like you still have to make skill plays in the KHL. Like that's one of the things you have to know how to use that extra ice. But like, so it's a little different in that regard. But the food was a little different. Getting used to all that stuff. The learned to love borscht soup. It was good. Even my son loved it. He enjoyed having that stuff. So. We adjusted pretty well. Some of the travel was pretty crazy. We were going across like 9 time zones at some point. So you don't see that over here. I went to China, got to play in China. I got to go to the Great Wall and walk on that. It was kind of really cool. It's something, most people don't get to do. It's hard to get into China. So if for us, doing that and just seeing the different cultures too, like there's a few that are very similar to ours, and it's kind of decent. I had one lady come up and give me a book on like all their heritage and stuff, and she's like, I think you're relatives of us, like you have a lot of the same things, they have the bannock, the fried bread, but they don't call it bannock, they call it something else, and they have like a bunch of different things that are very similar to the stuff that I grew up with.
Yeah. Best player you played with and against?
Best player I played with, Joe Thornton.
Yeah.
He's just so good at finding lanes to get you the puck. I mean, it's crazy. The guy barely shoots, and people know he's passing, but he can still thread it through a needle there. Best guy I played against, probably Mario Lemieux. I mean, I was on the checking line at that time. He got 2 goals. They won 5-2. But he's so, he's the best player on the ice.
Yeah.
But you can't stop him. It's like he's just gonna get his goals if you can like hang on to him and hold him to like 2 or 1 point. Like you're like happy kind of. He was like that good. Like you wouldn't even notice him. Then all of a sudden he'd have the puck and be on a breakaway or something, and it's like, how did that happen? So, I mean, having him play like that, I mean, Mark Messier was another guy I got to play against. He was kind of older at the time, but I kind of I chased him into the corner one time. I thought he'd give me an elbow or something, but he didn't.
Little NHL. It's been pretty much like a family tradition for a lot of us here in Ontario. How big of an impact was it? Like your dad played a little NHL, you did, and now your son is playing in a little NHL. Like how special is that tournament for a lot of families in Ontario?
I think for us, it's it's one of the things the kids look forward to all year. I mean, even the families, you get to connect with everybody there. Like when I go there, there's aunts, there's uncles. My wife came up, she's like, this is crazy. Like every stadium's packed for every game. It's like, it's like you got like not just your immediate family, but all the relatives come out to watch you're almost at the rink the whole time. It's crazy. Like the kids, we try to get them home, get them a little rest in between, when they're playing, but like everybody else is just at the rink the whole time. If I go there, I know my grandfather was alive, we used to go and he'd be sitting there the whole time, and it's like, did you leave yet? Did you eat? Like, and he's like, oh, there's games going on everywhere, and he's walking back and forth between different ones. We got different people, everybody. Actually, my Nadine Carey, my cousin, she puts together a schedule of all the games for for every nephew, niece, and everybody that's there, and it's kind of cool because you get to have that schedule, and you're like, okay, they're on this rink at this time, and we go there. And, but growing up, I mean, that was something, it was exciting to go do. You're competing, and you get to see other Native people that, love hockey just as much as you, and you don't see that very often because like a lot of times, like when I left home, there were hardly any Native kids playing that I played against, like there were a few maybe for a few different teams like North Bay and stuff like that. But like for the most part, like it was a non-Native sport, like when I played. So like me getting to play in that as a kid, you get to see everybody else that, is striving to kind of chase that dream. And, you get to compete against them. Those games are very competitive and it gets loud and crazy sometimes, but like it's one of the things I enjoyed growing up, being able to participate in that. I still enjoy it. Like my dad won the first ever one, and then I won the 25th annual one. And then, my son's playing now, so hopefully he can get a win here at some point. We're 0 for 2, 0 for 3 so far. So, hopefully he can get something going this year, and maybe they'll have a good shot at it.
Yeah, because this year will be the 50th anniversary. Like,
Yep.
how cool would be that for your family? Like, your dad won it, you won it, and now your son will win it.
Yeah, I mean that'd be amazing, but tell him he's got to put in a lot of work if he wants to go up there and do that.
Advice. What advice would you give young players, especially the ones who have to move? No, don't have to move, but want to move away to pursue their hockey career.
I think my advice would be, number one, if you make a decision, stick by it. You see a lot of kids that go change their minds, come back home, regret it at the end, right?
Yeah.
So stick to it, have a goal, set goals for yourself. Like when I was 14 with my dad, we sat down kind of and parents can, if they're listening too, can take heed to this, help your kids. It's setting goals. It gives you something to look for, something to go after, write them down. Like I had a 5-year plan basically of what I wanted to do. So like when I sat down, I said, I wanted to make the AAA team in Timmins, and I wanted to, be one of the top scorers. And then I wrote down, how am I going to do this? Like I'm going to have to work harder than my teammates. I'm going to have to go in there and I'm going to have to show them that I deserve to be on this team. And then my dad's like, okay, I say you do this and this does come true. What do you want to do the following year? And I said, well, I wanted to move up and play midget AAA. And as a year younger player, so as a Bantam age player, I wanted to go play midget AAA. And he said, okay. And then we did another, how are you going to do this type thing? So like I said, during the summer, I'm going to have to put in even more work. Like I'm going to have to shoot X amount of pucks a day. I'm going to have to run every day. I'm going to have to start working out, doing push-ups, sit-ups, all this stuff. And then he's like, okay, say that works out. Like, what do you want to do? And I said, I wanted to play like tier 2 junior, or like that's what I said at the time, because that's all I knew. Like we had I never knew they had junior B leagues and all this stuff, and I ended up playing junior B, which is comparable to like the tier 2 leagues that were around. So for me, like that's where I said I wanted to be, and that's where I got. And then like the year after that, my dad said, what do you want to do? And I was like, I want to get drafted and play in the OHL. And then the year after that, I said I wanted to get drafted to San Jose and play not San Jose, but get drafted to the NHL as well, and that was my 5-year plan. Like that was me at 14 coming up with what I saw my future as, what I wanted my future to be. And I had goals written down and I could go look at those goals at any time. So for me, I would give advice. That would be my advice. Make goals, work hard for them. Nothing comes easy. Nothing comes easy. I got cut from San Jose 4 times. I made it on the 5th time. You're going to get cut. Things happen. You know what I mean? Like I tell everybody, even I coach now, I tell my kids, like, you may not make my team next year. Like you have to put in the work. Like that's one of the things that no one can take away from you. You can always put in the work. You got to stay focused. You got to stay focused on your schooling. That was another big thing. My mom made me focus on my schooling. She's like, there's only 700 people that in a year that play in the NHL. So like to be those 700, yeah, it's great and you have to work for it, but like sometimes it doesn't work out, and having a good schooling and good education is going to help you in the long run. And it even helps you in everyday life. You learn how to become an adult by doing that. And, that's one of the things I took pride in. I always got great marks in school. I was not as good in math. So like that one was a struggle for me. I really had to work at it. I passed all my classes, but that one I was probably a B student in. But like, everything else, like English, history, I was geology or geography. I was always had A's or A pluses, like that was something I really took pride in as a kid too. So, because I never knew it, like I may have gone to college. Like I had college teams come talk to me when I was playing junior B. So like that was a very good option for me as well. Like Michigan was one of the top teams at the time. I know they put out a feeler, and like there were a bunch of different teams. So it was, definitely an option, and it's good to keep your options open. So like, you can't concentrate solely on hockey, because like sometimes it may not work out, schooling's a good fallback option.
Before we let you go, we always finish our interviews what we call 5 rapid NIST questions. You ready?
All right.
Question number 1: baked or fried bannock?
Fried.
Really? A lot of
Mhm.
people say fried. I'm not too many people like baked bannock.
I don't mind baked bannock. It's just drier, I think.
Yeah, true. Question number 2: ever use a bed sheet for a door or curtain?
Yes, when we were younger.
This is a music question coming up. Question number 3: ever see Ernest Muniz live in concert?
I have not seen him live in concert. I've heard him. I haven't seen him.
Question number 4: Indian taco or bannock burger?
Indian taco. In California, I got it.
Yeah. 5th and last question: can you jig?
I cannot. I'm a terrible dancer. My grandmother would dance circles around me.
All right, John. Thank you for coming on the show. We really appreciate taking the time out of your schedule to come join us, talk some hockey.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me. It was great to be here.
All right, well, talk to you again, and take care.
All right. Sounds good, Trev. Thanks.
See ya.
Bye.
Hi. There it is.
There it is. I sent Bush a number of videos of Borat on TikTok.
Yeah.
Did you learn any
He
of them?
did. I'm still learning. I have to get that dialect and to connect. It's coming. It's coming. I'm gonna wait for maybe when I get back from my trip. I'll be
Very
practicing.
nice.
Very,
Very nice. High five. That's hilarious. Yeah, welcome back from our interview that we had with John.
Mhm.
Very good interview. Bush is agreeing, but he hasn't heard the interview yet.
Oh.
But yeah, great guys. Like, I mean, you really have to put in the work and sacrifice a lot of things if you want to play junior hockey, if you want to play college hockey, pro hockey, and he's right on everything. I mean, while his friends were out partying and drinking, he was running around, jogging around the island. For those who don't know, Moose Factory is on an island. So when I say he was jogging around the island, yeah, we're on an island. So like, and the funny thing is, like, in the interview, we laughed because he was jogging around. I remember this like perfect. He was, like I mentioned in the interview, like when I would go up for the summer, part of my summer, I would stay at my grandparents' house, and you could see my grandparents' house to his house where his parents used to live in. He used to jog by my grandparents' house, and I was getting home from partying one night.
Jeez.
It must have been around 7 in the morning. He was jogging by. So it just to show you, I was being bad. I was being alarmist, and while he was jogging and really focused, I was out partying. I was not doing what he was doing. So it just shows you that you really have to be 100% committed. I wasn't committed. I think I only worked out maybe like 1 year, one summer for hockey. And that was it. Like during the winter, I didn't work out during the season, like, because I was playing hockey for the wrong reasons. I wasn't playing hockey to make the NHL like John was. I was just playing hockey just for the wrong reasons, for the girls and for the parties. I was trying to live like a rock star, but that's the only reason I can admit it that I played, is just trying to live the rock star life, go to tournaments. I was already at that age when I was a teenager. I was already looking forward to playing tournaments and playing a lot of niche hockey. And I wasn't thinking about trying to make it to the next level. I was just already wanting to go to the bars, and
Mhm.
so it's like I said, I was playing junior hockey for the wrong reasons, and I wasn't committed like John was. And so, yeah,
Yeah.
young guys, if you want to make it to where John is, if you want to make it to the show, you really have to be committed and work at it and make a lot of sacrifices, because it's you're gonna have to give up pretty much your whole social life and a lot of things to play that high level of hockey. So
Yeah, there's a saying in the early 90s. I was reading about it in Hockey News. When you make the junior, you have high school, you have the social life, and you have hockey. Pick two of them.
yeah, true. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember when I think my grade 12 year, when I went back to my high school in Thunder Bay because the season was done, and I was voted like the biggest party animal in my yearbook, and I didn't even go to the school most of the school year.
What's that?
It's just I was I was I was doing it wrong, and I'm like, yeah, it does suck now when you think about it, but I'm okay with it. Like, it is what it is, and a lot of guys our age, they still don't accept that they never made it far, right?
Yeah.
They still think, oh, I should have did this, I should have did that. A lot of regret, and it's just, but I'm okay with it. I accepted what happened, and I have no regret because I met a lot of good people along my trail and along my journey. So it is what it is, and I'm okay with it. But that's why I wanted to start this show. It's for a lot of the youth to listen to what it takes to get to that level,
Yeah.
and listen to me, that it's not like the partying and the girls and stuff like that. It's There's more to life than that, and more to your hockey career than just drinking and going to parties and stuff like that. So if I can make if we can make a difference to a
Yeah.
couple young hockey players, and that, like, we did our job, and it's just helping the next generations not to make the mistakes I made. And that's why we have a lot of these good guests to tell them. And a lot of these guests, like young guys, young girls, if you need if you need advice, a lot of these players will reach out if you
Yep.
message them on social media, like Colton, Wasey, Judd.
Yeah.
They all said, if you guys need advice, shoot us a message. And I'm sure it's same goes with like Sydney Daniels and Kelly
Mhm.
Babstock, and like Jocelyn the Rock. Like, don't be don't be shy. Go out and message these players. So they're the help. So yeah. Um, Rez Hockey. This Rez Hockey top five for this week is top five moments. Bush
We
and
kind
I each made
we
a list. Top
we
five
kind of
moments within the top 100 episodes.
we kind of scratched the surface earlier, but
Good to scratch.
yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, number one, talking to Zach Whitecloud. That's probably number one.
Are we going?
Oh
Are we counting down 5-1?
no, probably I'm just gonna say one
Okay,
of the
we'll just say five.
yeah,
This is no order.
no order. Okay, Zach Whitecloud. That was big. That's
One of
huge.
mine is picking the music. I remember when I was going to start this show,
Yeah.
I sat down and I Googled the crap out of everything, how to pick music and what kind of music, and it took me a long time to pick the music. The opening theme and the closing theme. Like, I was thinking, should I have the same opening music and closing, or should I have uh two different songs? But yeah, that was one of my favorites. It's just picking the music, and I really do like the music, the rock music. And FYI, I did listen to techno to see if it will kind of go with our show, but I wasn't feeling it though. I got the rock.
All right.
Okay.
Learning new languages. AKA learning how to pronounce players' names and towns that they're in.
That's my next one, is like
Right?
learning the different cultures, like
Yeah.
Willie out in BC, and our bro Mickey up in Northwest Territories and
Yeah.
Inuvik. Like he was telling us like how they go hunting and how they make their caribou jerky, and with Willie he was like with fishing and stuff like that. It's just like Wasey would tell us how to talk in his language, and just learning the different languages of our guests, and it's really cool to learn. And like with Colton, like his family
Yeah.
run a ranch, so it was cool that how he works in the off season at that ranch that his dad is a manager at. So it's really cool to hear these different stories and how they all work within their culture. And so yeah, that was one of mine too.
Yeah. You're up.
Another one is traveling to tourneys. We were fortunate to travel to a couple of tourneys last year. I went to one in Timmins, and we went to Freddie, and
Yeah.
I went to Portage and Brandon. So we were get to travel and play some hockey while we would meet some new friends. So it's always fun to travel and meet new people. So yeah, that's one on my list, is just traveling to tournaments and getting to meet a lot of new people.
Yeah, that's the Freddie, that was a really big one to meet people. That was nice.
That was cool.
Yeah, that was nice to pick a jersey and eat a hot dog in front of you.
As you can see in my background picture.
Yeah. I'm being selfish, but talking to a fellow Bemidji State alumni, for me, it's a little familiarity talking about the different restaurants, like campus life. It's just brought back a lot of memories for me.
Yeah, that was cool to hear. Just I think we got to go back there one of these times, maybe
Yeah.
just to experience and see if it's still try to go out like you're in your 20s again.
Oh my God. I'll be going home. I'll be yawning and going home when people are starting to fill the bar.
By 10 o'clock.
By 10 o'clock, if I'm lucky. Yeah, because we can watch Maya play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'd be fun to go to Bemidji, go check out your old stomping ground. Hey, that kid looks like Bush.
I was waiting for that.
How old are you?
Are you 21 years old?
Another one is, we mentioned this earlier, is just meeting the guests.
Yeah.
Like at the Freddie, we met so many players that were part of our show, and it's really cool. And just the way we meet them, like as if we've known them for years and years.
Yeah.
And now a lot of these guys we call bros, and we consider them really good friends. So yeah, that's one of mine off my list.
Yeah, I think on that note, when the first year, when we went to the Freddie, and while they were waiting for the game, Colton, Wasey, and Judd all sat with us, like shooting the breeze.
Yeah.
That was really cool, sitting with them, waiting for the game to start, just talking to them, as you said, like bros, and just in that, talking about it. It was really neat. I really enjoyed that part.
And Ashley came to sit with us too, and it was like, gosh, our street cred just rose like 100.
Just rose up. Didn't she offer me her?
McDonald's?
Oh yeah, she had like extra like cheeseburgers or something like that, right?
Yeah, and you just munched it hard.
It's because she offered. I was like, okay, I'm hungry. I'll take it.
Okay. And my last one I have is starting the show. It's I think we really took a big step with being the only Indigenous hockey show around, and just I think it's cool. I mean, we took a really big step. We took a big chance because we weren't sure how the show was how long it was gonna run. We weren't sure we were gonna get guests or listeners, but it took off and we're doing really good. And so that's probably a big one for me, is just starting the show and just really how it developed and where it is now.
That's kind of mine. Mine was Trev asking me to co-host the show.
Yeah, I was just because I remember I asked one guy and he never answered. So I was like, okay, who do I ask next? I was like,
Yeah.
I'll ask Bush. And like I knew you were. It was hard at first to kind of work around your 12-hour
Yeah.
work schedule, but we made it work. But now
Yeah.
you only work 2 hours a day, so now we're able, and you get evenings off, so we're able to get
2 hours a day.
we're able to make
giving
it
me
work.
credit. You're including my lunch hour.
and your coffee break.
And my coffee breaks.
So yeah, it's how can I say this without? But yeah, it's just really glad that you decided to come on the show and help me out, and it's really fun, and it's been a blast, and I'm very humbled. I am because every time someone messages us on social media, like our
Yeah.
Facebook or Instagram, Twitter, I always make sure to reply right away, because it's just we're not snobs. We're just really humbled guys who just took a chance on an opportunity, and we're still running with it. So if anyone ever has a question or wants us to promote a tournament or something, shoot us a message,
Yeah.
and we're more than happy to respond and try to help you out, because you guys are helping us out by listening and just messaging us on social media. So we're always willing to give back no matter what. And so yes, just shoot us a message. So Carrie, what were you gonna say?
I'm gonna say, Kerry Terrence. I'm gonna smudge all my whole everything else. I really want to see you play in Sweden.
Carrie and the invitees or invitees? Invitees? The other guys that just got invited for Team USA, they will they'll be
their camp is Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
So let's all lay down some tobacco and say a prayer for Kerry, for him to play for Team USA, because I think they're gonna win it no matter who they pick. But yeah, we're rooting for you, Kerry, and we really hope you make that team. So
I think well, do you remember 20 years ago, like when USA won, people thought it was just a blip.
Yeah.
But I was talking to guys in Bemidji State when I was there, and they said that the Hockey USA development camp, they took Canada's model and they made it their own. And they said they were going to play the long game. Said, you watch, Danny, you watch in 10, 15 years. The USA is going to be one of the powerhouses instead of just Canada or Russia. And I of course I spat out my beer, and you know what, you don't know what you're talking about. Sure enough, like they're parity, and they're better than a lot of they're world junior champions for a reason.
Yeah, like when I was playing junior in the US, it wasn't as good. Like, in today's game, there's no way I'd be playing junior hockey. Like, it's so fast down there. Like, those kids, they're so creative. Like Tage Thompson, that Trevor Zegras off of Anaheim. Like, those kids, like those Robertson brothers, like they're so good. Like those Hughes brothers too. Like, what the hell are they doing down in the US?
I know. I got to interrupt you, but when I watched them play in Montreal in 2017, USA was down twice. They were down 2-0, and they were down 4-2, and they won in overtime, or they won a shootout. But the grit that they had, they just did not quit. They backed down Canada, or they stood up to all of Canada and all the fans, and they said, "You know what? We're here to win this thing, and we're gonna steal it from you." And they just did. They out grinded, out passed, out hustled, out everything. They out hockeyed us.
Yeah, so it should be interesting at this World Juniors, where Rez Hockey will be at the World Juniors. Bush
Yep.
is going. He's representing Rez Hockey.
Yep.
So if you see a guy like eating his ice cream sundae like
George
Costanza on Seinfeld,
Yeah.
that's our Bush. Just eating a hot dog with mustard and dripping all in your face.
Just
Just in your beard.
yeah.
Oh man. Just wearing
Oh.
a Rez Hockey hat. Like, what's this Rez
Yeah.
Hockey about? But yeah. Should be a fun time.
Yeah.
While Bush is in Sweden, I'll be in Mexico. So
Yep.
I hope
You'll be on the beach and I'll be in the winter.
maybe I'll have to download that TSN app and purchase that TSN and watch the World Junior games. No?
I'll let you know if I make TSN, and then you can. I'm just kidding.
You should jump on the ice.
Oh, I could be that fan.
Well, you know when they open the gates to shovel like on a TV timeout?
Oh yeah.
Just jump when the doors open, just jump and start running.
Yeah.
Don't be like that guy in Calgary and
Oh
try
yeah.
to jump over the boards naked and knock himself out and land on the ice naked. This past weekend I was in Toronto, the Big Smoke, Toronto TO. The Toronto Maple Leafs had a coaches open house, and I participated in that. It's Sheldon Keefe spoke, Brandon Shanahan, and the Jim Trefliving or whatever his last name is, the GM for the Leafs. We were able to watch the Leafs practice and Nashville practice, and and some of the coaches put on like practice drills and showed us how to do this and that, and it was very cool. Toronto Maple Leafs practice was pretty good actually. I was really impressed. Like they went hard for a morning skate, and they
Yeah.
played that night. Same with Nashville. They went hard, and they had different drills, but it was really cool. Like, man, those guys are good. Like they make it look so easy. So it was just like, damn. But one player that I was really impressed with is that Yossi of Nashville. Roman
Yossi? Yeah.
makes it look so easy. Like, geez, man. Just smooth and like the guy doesn't make a mistake.
No.
But it was Leafs won 4-0. It was a big win for the blue and white. I went to the game by myself. That's the first time I went to the game by myself, and I didn't mind it. It was actually pretty fun. I just sat in my seat the whole time. So in the section I was sitting in, I was 5 or 6 rows behind the net, and like a waiter came up to me and asked me what I wanted. So I just ordered food sitting down, and I didn't have to leave my seat. So it was perfect. And the cool thing was, like, I didn't have to break the bank that much. The ticket was $197.
That's not bad.
They were called like selfie seats, where there's only one seat left in a row, where you can't really sell it to like if a group of people would want to go. So yeah, that's how they call them selfie seats. So I managed to score a good ticket for a good price. Because I was looking, because the Leafs will be in Winnipeg the end of January, and I was looking at prices.
Oh no,
ridiculous!
It's horrible.
$400 plus if you want to go.
I know.
Like,
it's criminal.
It's not even the resale tickets. It's just the regular seats that the Winnipeg Jets are selling. Like, how can, like we mentioned this before on a show, that how can a family of 4, 2 parents and 2 kids afford a game?
Yeah.
That's like $1,600 just in tickets alone.
Yeah. That's horrible.
So I was in Toronto too during that Japanese player that supposedly signed with
Ohtani?
Ohtani. Holy
Yes.
man.
Did you see the stats on the breakdown of his contract, like per day, per hour, per week?
Isn't that crazy?
It's just ridiculous. That's so when people get mad at a hockey player's salary, I said, you know what? Just don't. There's no parity.
$700 million in 10 years.
Yeah.
And that's American. So that's almost $1 billion Canadian.
I know that's just
That's
crazy
that's
stupid.
probably like 900 million Canadian.
Hmm.
What do you do with all that money?
I know.
Jeez, man, that's a lot of baloney.
Oh, hey, I took Sue to her first game, first NHL game ever on Thursday.
How does she
Last
like it?
Thursday. She loved it. I showed her who the best player in the world. Of course, she picked out the
Darnell Nurse.
Connor. Of course, she. You know what? Funny true story. I was chirping Nurse so bad. I was just I don't think he could hear me, but I was still chirping. I was saying, "Oh yeah, nice pass." What? I was just blabbing away. Then I go, "Come on, you $9 million man!" And that was just before he pinched. He got that pass, and then he had that Casey's type of wrist shot, and he tied the game up. And the guy looks at me. Well, you did call him out.
Just a little cheap wrist shot.
It was like LT's wrist shot's harder than that.
Yeah. Did you hear Bear might be going to Washington?
I didn't read that part. I just knew that he might go somewhere east.
Yeah, I guess it's Washington. Like, I don't understand. Like, you get to pick where you pretty much where you want to go because a lot of teams are looking for a right-handed defenseman who could
Yeah.
possibly play the power play. Like, why would you go to Washington? They're not even a playoff team.
Well, I mean,
Like, is it because of the playing time? Okay, would you rather go to a team that's not making the playoffs but you get a lot of playing time, 20 plus minutes, or go to a cup contender team but play maybe 10, 15 minutes a game? I'd be happy playing 10, 15 minutes on a cup contending team where you have a chance to win the Stanley Cup.
you got a point there.
So I don't know. I don't know.
Talk like at my age.
Because like
I noticed you didn't answer right away.
yeah, I know. Because like Ethan Bear, like there's talks of like Toronto's in the talk too to sign him. Like, why don't you go to Toronto? You have a chance to win a cup. Well, you are going to win the cup if you go to Toronto. So, but
maybe his agent, maybe he's looking at finances and he doesn't get taxed as much.
Yeah, true. What is it in Ontario? 13%.
Something like that.
Hmm.
It's ridiculous. Or you could have signed in Florida and where there's no taxes.
Is it like that in Nevada too, eh? No taxes?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So, but yeah, go sign with Toronto Bear. Don't go to Washington. But it'd be cool to freaking give one-timer passes to Ovechkin on the power play.
Yeah.
Because there's like Toronto's already stacked on the power play, so there's no way he's cracking that power play in Toronto. So more playing time, no chance of winning the cup, or less playing time and winning the cup. I'd rather go and win the cup.
Yeah.
So, anything else before we skedaddle?
No, I checked my notes. I don't think I have anything else.
In here. All right, guys. Thank you for joining Bush and I for episode 100 for this big episode, this special episode. I totally forgot to do this at the beginning of the show. Bush and I, we are recording our episode on the traditional land of the Anishinaabe. We are on Treaty 3 land. I just want to give a land acknowledgement. I totally forget to do it at the beginning of the show. Toronto does that too. Toronto puts on a really good land acknowledgement at the Leafs game.
Oh, cool.
Of course, by myself, when they did that, I just raised my arm straight and put a fist up.
Of course you did.
Damn right. Better recognize. But yeah, they put on a good for the Leafs for doing that. So
yeah,
it's just as good as it's not as good as the Oilers, because with the Oilers they have elders talking and doing the video clip. So not as good as the Oilers, but it was right up there. So yeah, guys, thanks for joining us. Hopefully the next 100 episodes are going to be just as deadly.
Just as deadly.
We have a lot of guests lined up and a lot of former players and current players, and even some guest speakers who don't play hockey, but they want to come on the show. So we have some musicians coming on, some comedians, some actors. So when this specific actor comes on, this is Bush's chance to go on a movie. So he's gonna maybe put Bush on as an extra. So.
Is it Rip?
Yeah. It's that what was that one with Tim McGraw, 1893?
1883.
1883. Maybe you'll be a backup for there.
Oh yeah. I
Be
could
one
be-
of the
I could be
Indians
the-
getting shot and falling off the horse.
That's my moment of glory.
Yeah. So yeah. So thanks. I'm just tongue tied now. So thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. We're very humbled that you guys supported us through the first 100 shows of the Rez Hockey. So
yeah.
Cheers, and we will see you guys next week. Next
we
week
will
be our last show before
Holidays.
Christmas holidays, because like we said earlier, Bush is in Sweden and I'm going to Mexico. So, but we'll see you guys next
19th.
week.
Yeah,
So,
we will.
We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.